marketing planning for first section of 4.2. It's a big unit. Okay, so marketing planning is just the formal and systematic process of making strategies and objectives in order to meet the goals of your business. Now, in order to follow marketing planning or market planning, you need to make something called a marketing plan. A marketing plan is a plan of action that combines all elements of your marketing mix to meet your business's objectives. It's like something, it's like a document you make that outlines everything in a marketing mix in order to understand what you want to do in the future, where you are now, and what you can do. So, what are the roles of a marketing plan? They've got basically two main roles, and honestly, kind of aligns with the simple marketing roles. It's identify the wants and needs of your customers, and then show your marketing objectives and strategies. A marketing plan is just a document of how you're going to market your business. Okay, so it's going to have to identify the wants and needs, as that's just a plain role of marketing. And showing your marketing objectives and strategies is another role, because that's essentially what it is. You are just showing your objectives, you're showing your strategy, you're showing your marketing. That's what you do. Now, a marketing plan has 6 main elements, and it is in this order. You start off with stating your marketing objectives. If I was a social enterprise, my marketing objectives will be a little bit more social and stuff like that. Next, you move on to market research. Now, this should always be in depth, okay? And there's a good rule to follow: garbage in, garbage out. If you have bad market research, you get bad data, then you come out with bad results. To ensure market research is good, high quality, and you spend time on it, extensive amounts of time. Now, you need to do a market analysis of such research. This once again requires time, effort, skill, and ability. Then you move on to outlining marketing strategies. This is a more forward-looking and future-looking, whereas this is a present, static-looking element. These marketing strategies are what you're going to do, what you can do, and then you basically evaluate these in the same time as well. Then you have marketing budgets. This kind of goes along with your strategies, just how much everything will cost, how much everything costs right now, and everything like that. And then you just end it with a summary. I think that's very simple. And let's move on to the advantages and disadvantages. An advantage is basically, at its fundamental core, a marketing plan helps you make effective strategies. This is because it fully outlines all the research, analyzes all the research, outlines all strategies, and evaluates everything to give you an effective strategy and help you succeed. Then it also gives you a sense of direction and purpose. These marketing strategies outline objectives to make sure that the business is working towards one specific direction. Make sure they have something to base themselves off of, measure themselves off of. If they're not meeting their marketing objectives, then they're not succeeding. Third, it helps you identify problems within your business and strategies you want to do in the future, because this analysis section is and the strategy section is very important. It helps identify problems and helps you know what needs working on and what needs help. Finally, it just helps improve your decision making. All this outlining of facts just helps you improve your decision making to give you a more robust and evaluative perspective on what decisions to make. And I haven't written this one here, but it's also, marketing plans are practically essential for when you want to get loans, if you want to propose strategies, because they're the backbone of evidence that that you are proposing a thorough and evaluated strategy. Let's move on to the disadvantages. It is costly, it is time consuming if you do it right, okay? As I said, garbage in, garbage out. If you ensure your research is correct, if you ensure your analysis is correct, if you ensure your strategies are correct and your budgets are correct, it will be costly. It will be time consuming. It will be very time consuming, and it presents a sense of opportunity cost to businesses that they could be doing something else. Now, secondly, it's also kind of unrealistic for smaller firms. So this is because smaller firms don't have these resources to spend a lot of money, spend a lot of time. Sorry, because they spend a lot of these smaller firms have probably more day-to-day operational challenges they need to face. Third, can be outdated quickly. The marketing plan is a static plan. By that, I mean that it is one that you make and you cannot change based off any events that happen. If you want to change it, you have to make a completely new plan, which is super costly to her. The fact that it can be outdated quickly means that it's not really that good in the long run. Other than the marketing objectives, everything else kind of gets outdated very quickly, and then it makes it kind of like a waste of time. In essence, a marketing plan is still essential for businesses to understand their sense of purpose, understand their sense of direction, and it helps them get loans, helps them propose strategies, but it comes with a lot of disadvantages. Okay, segmentation 4.2 still. Now, let's just get straight into it. A market segment is basically just an individual subgroup of a large market where customers share similar characteristics and interests. Okay, this is just the idea. Okay, the market segment is the actual individual like groups, but the act of making these different groups is what you call market segmentation. This is the process of dividing your market into smaller, distinct groups to meet like desired needs and wants of each other. So you had a massive watch market, okay? Me making them into small markets, as in luxury, budget, digital, Apple Watch. Me doing that is market segmentation, but them themselves is just different market segments. All right. Now, when it comes to market segmentation, we have four types of market segmentation. The four ways you can segment markets. It's demographic segmentation, geographic segmentation, psychographic segmentation, and socioeconomic segmentation. These may sound complicated, but they're very basic. It's almost very literal. Don't worry about it. It's not even this. This is not even that important for units. So let's just start off. Demographic segmentation is the idea of splitting your consumers according to statistical characteristics of their population. Okay, so just genuine genuine determinal aspects of your population, split it into those groups. Let's go back to that watch example. An age, 10-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 80 years old. That's me demographically segmenting my market. And then you can just go into these other factors: gender, family size, religion, ethnicity, all demographic types of segmentation. Now, second one, geographic segmentation. This one is kind of in the name. It's when you split your customers based off their different geographical locations. Now, an example is it doesn't just have to be locations. It can be the location's population density. It can be a location's climate, a location, and then actual locations. But now this one, geographic segmentation, it enables marketers to basically localize their products to better suit customers in different areas around the world. Let's look at McDonald's, okay? Because of their locations and their geographic segmentation, they change their menu everywhere. Now, if you look at other companies, okay, with climate would be a big factor for a marketer to localize their product. If you're in a very tropical environment, you're not really going to be selling lots of hot teas. You might have to sell lots of cold ice creams. Okay, that's just how you localize your products to the geographical locations. Now, third one, psychographic segmentation. This may sound complex, don't worry, it's quite easy to break when I break down. This is basically the idea of just splitting markets, segmenting markets based off your individual lifestyle choices and their personal values, okay? So what I mean by that is, for lifestyle choices, let's look at just people's personal interests, what they like doing, their hobbies. So let's go back to the watch example. You can split it by people who like to play football, people who like to go on yachts, people who like to go look at their watch a lot. Like, it's just personal interests. People who like gold, people who like silver. That's your lifestyle choices, and that's what psychographic is. And then your personal values is your moral beliefs, your views on an issue. So let's go back to the watch. People who don't support unethically sourced diamonds from mines, then you gotta put them here. And people who don't care, here. Their moral values don't care. And then there. This psychographic segmentation is just more about what people like, what they don't like, and how they feel about things. And then, last but not least, we have socioeconomic segmentation. This sounds complex, but once you think about it, it is not complex at all. It's just splitting your markets based on your consumer or your household income levels, okay? So I didn't write examples for this one because I feel like it's quite basic. Just, you have watch example. It goes to lower class, middle class, upper middle class, elite class. And then it can just be like different levels of disposable income. That's how you segment your market for socioeconomic segmentation. And that's about all the segmentation. 4.2, targeting. Okay, in marketing, this is a short unit. You can literally see that. Target market is a clearly and a specific group of potential customers that share common characteristics in which a business aims its marketing strategies towards. That sounds a little complex. Let's simplify it. It's just a small segment, a small group of clearly identifiable people, customers, potential customers, where a business aims towards to try sell their products to them. Now, and then we just move on straight to targeting, which is the act of focusing on your target market in essence. It's the systemic process of marketing to a specific target segment. It's really easy. It's just literally that one word. A target market, just that specific group of people that share common characteristics. Now, this part, share common characteristics, and then business aims its marketing efforts. These two are key. You have to remember that. If you want to get marks, these are the two buzzwords that give you marks in an exam. That's targeting. Okay, positioning is where it gets a little bit more now. Okay, so positioning, we look at market positioning through something called a positioning map. It is right here. A positioning map is basically a graphical illustration of the customer's perceptions of a business or of businesses in an industry in comparison to others in the industry. Now, keyword here is customers' perceptions. It is not the reality of the situation, it is the perceptions of customers and businesses. There's a perception customers hold of each business. Basically, a position map, if you're thinking why we use it, it allows businesses to find what we call gaps in the market to try and reform marketing strategies. So, now let's go straight to the positioning model. We have four sectors, okay? And it's divided by price and quality. That's what a positioning map is based off of. We start with high price up here, and then low price, and then we go to low quality to high price. Let's go sector by sector. In this sector here of high price and low quality, we call these products or these businesses within this cowboy products. Now, this is kind of an unsustainable strategy that businesses hold. It's not preferable, but it's kind of like used to deceive customers, and it's like a short term. It's a rip off basically. Like customers perceive the products over here as rip offs. They're high price, but they're low quality, which is why you as a business can see why you don't want to be here. It's like bad brand image, but it can be used as a short-term tactic just to boost sales. So like just in the short term, you want to get high profit, high margins, just bump your price up even though your quality is low. So it could be a short-term tactic for business survival. Examples for this, so I wrote down tourist traps, and the things I was thinking was like, let's say you come to Hong Kong and you wear these like low quality I love Hong Kong shirts. You can probably go somewhere else and then get a really nice quality shirt for a lot cheaper, which is exactly what this is. It's quite highly priced because of it, but it is still low quality. Now let's move straight to here. High price, high quality. These are called premium products. It's kind of in the name what it is. A's tend to be luxury products. They're luxury, high quality, high price. An example, Rolex, Hermes, Louis Vuitton, all of these big brands, all these luxury brands. That's premium product. That's self-explanatory. Now we move down over here. We look at the low quality and low price section. We call these economy products. These products appeals to price sensitive customers. Over here, customers know what they're getting. Even though they know they're getting low quality, they're very okay with it because they're paying low prices. So being in this sector as a business is not bad. Or being here is not bad either. You get nice profit margins here, real nice. But being over here allows you to get lots of sales, and is usually where most mass markets are. And then an example is like toilet rolls can be like this whiteboard pen itself, like the companies that make it. And we move on to the last sector. High quality, but low price. These are bargain products. Now, you may think this seems good. Customers get high quality products with low prices, but once again, it is also kind of unsustainable. It once again can be used as a short-term tactic to boost sales. We will look in later on a thing called divesting. When companies begin to divest, they begin to go thoroughly in here because they decrease their prices and they just want to get rid of their products. But it can be very good as a short-term tactic to boost sales. And I feel like an example that nowadays, maybe not nowadays, but during its introduction that could be used in this is BYD. BYD is a Chinese car company that was a bunch of electric cars, which were really good quality, and customers perceived that in comparison to Tesla, it was a lot cheaper, which is why I think it would fit in the bargain products. Now, as a business, you would want to try be in the premium products, in the economy products. Maybe you can be in bargain products. It's not that bad here. It is still slightly unsustainable. But I think you would definitely not want to be up here. Basically, the main part of a positioning map model is you don't want to be in something called stuck in the middle, right there. Being stuck in the middle is basically you don't have any of the extremes like the other brand. This high price that the cowboy products have make people think that they're maybe it might influence their perceptions on quality, and because you're charging a premium. high price, high quality, you're being up here, you get really good margins. Down here, you get really good sales. Over here, you'll get really good sales as well. I mean, you do get lower margins. But if you're stuck in the middle, you don't have a lower price that people want. You don't have better quality that people want. You don't have anything. These positioning map models is there so you as a business can identify where customers perceive your business as and what you need to do to change in order to fit into your desired category. That's about it. Okay, so 4.2, we're still on it, yep. Niche markets and mass markets. This is a very short unit, very simple. So, okay, a niche market is basically just a small segment of a market where your customers have specific needs, wants, and preferences. These are literally in simple words, very small segments of a market, very specialized, okay? And it's kind of in the name, niche market, niche, you know. Now, we're just gonna go straight into the advantages and disadvantages. So, the advantage of a niche market is that you have a better marketing focus. This is because if you're a company like Rolex or you're like a yacht, you know exactly what you're doing. You're very specialized, so you're driven for one particular reason, and that means your marketing is clearly driven, clearly specialized, as particularly about you, as particularly focused. This makes it very coherent, cohesive, and makes your brand identity a lot stronger. Now, second thing is you can charge higher prices in a niche market. Now, we'll touch on this later when it comes to pricing, but this is what you call premium pricing. When you're in a niche market, you can charge premiums on your product, which means because it's niche, because it's more specialized, and it tends to be more luxury or more higher quality, um, you can charge these things called premium, which are extra, basically extra costs you add to your price, so you can basically increase your margins, and it's very justifiable because of you being a niche market, because of the quality of your products. And now, finally, you become more specialized. This is because you are only meeting the needs and wants of the particular and the specialized and the very well-defined customers within your market. So you're continuously doing what they want and exactly what they want, okay? This makes you a lot more specialized and thus therefore will increase your quality, which is what justifies your premium prices. Now, it's not perfect. It is not perfect. Obviously, with a niche market, since it's a smaller segment of a market, you get a limited customer base. It's not going to be as high. It's not going to be as high sales. Maybe not sales, but maybe as high customer base. Okay, with this could decrease your sales and make it therefore a little risky. And then, because it's niche, because you don't have that big access to luxury, you don't have that big access to your customer base, it gives you less chance to exploit economies of scale. Now, economies of scale is always something you should talk about for advantages and disadvantages. But when it comes to niche markets, you don't get to exploit these economies of scale, and it is a severe disadvantage because they're just always good and they're just so amazing to have for a business when you become bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, and then third, once you're in a niche market and you become really successful in your niche market, you begin to gain a lot of attraction. And that attraction basically attracts competition. Let me simplify this with an example. Tesla. Tesla was basically the first like big companies to move into purely electric cars. Okay, but now, because they were in such a niche market, but because they were so good at it and because they got so successful, BYD came in, Mercedes started making electric cars, Toyota started making electric cars, everyone else started making electric cars, and it turned it away from a niche market to a mass market. This basically is bad because it forces you to shift your marketing strategies, and it forces you to shift your operational strategies to become more competitive and become more cost focused. and then it basically like removes these advantages you've gained from these like niche markets as well. So if you are too successful, it may be bad for you. It kind of sucks. So obviously an example, Rolex, yachts, all these niche specialized segments of markets. Okay, so now we move on to mass markets. Mass markets are just markets where products are produced at a large scale and produced to a large diverse group of consumers, okay? These are basically like everyday products and there's so many competitors, there's so many consumers, okay? Because it's just appealing to practically everyone. Now obviously like toilet roll, beverages, there's hundreds of thousands of toilet roll companies, every single person uses it. Every single person drinks a drink, hundreds of thousand beverages companies. Now, let's move on. The advantages is basically the opposite. It's almost the opposite of each other. But firstly, you get to access economies of scale, which is just purely amazing. Okay, purchasing. So now, if you want to delve into HL content, level 7 content, you have to go specifically into this. When you go to mass markets, purchasing economies of scale is exactly what you'll be looking for. Because like you buy in bulk, get cheaper, and then therefore reduce your average cost. Economies of scale is a big thing of a mass market, one of their biggest advantages. Now, you also get a much larger customer base. This helps you reduce the risk a little, but I wouldn't talk about the risk too much because there's like lots of risks and unrisks and it's very spread out. So it's not something I would tell on, but it does help you reduce the risk because you have such a large customer base that basically like you are guaranteed at least a few customers if you are successful. And the third, you have a lower marketing cost. Now bear with me for a second, let me explain this. When you're in a mass market, you can use single marketing to address your entire market, okay? Unless if you're in a niche market, everything is so specialized, so orientated, you have to be specialized with your marketing as well. But if you're in a mass market, you can use single marketing to promote all of your products. Nike uses single marketing to promote all of their products. Coca-Cola, every single one of their flavors is through one ad. Can't do that. A Rolex, you can't promote hundreds of Rolex in one ad. You have to put specific Rolexes because they're so individual. That's helps you reduce your marketing costs and makes your brand bigger, brand identity large. Now, disadvantages. There are very high barriers to entry in mass markets. There's because there's heavy competition. These two go hand in hand. Okay? This heavy competition in mass markets makes it really hard to enter these markets if you're a small company or a new company. This makes it really risky as well because the chance of success is a lot lower. And now, third, you lack that focus of satisfying your individual customers' needs. It's because, like a niche market, unlike a niche market, you're not focused on specifically what your customers want, but you're just focused on earning as much money as possible and just making acceptable products. So you're not able to accept your genuine needs and wants of your customers. Therefore, you have to be a lot more generic and more competitive in order to compete with your heavy competition. That's about it. Okay, so now unique USP is the unique selling point. This is still 4.2. Yeah. So a unique selling point, to break it down, is any aspect of your business or business or organization that basically makes you stand out from your competitors. Okay, just anything that makes you different from your competitors. The examples of these could be a first mover advantage. Now, a first mover advantage is basically what it's called when you're the first company to do something. Apple, they got first mover advantage when they released the iPhone. They were the first ever company to do it, and that gives you a unique selling point. You're the first one to do it, and that gives you a sense of credibility and reliability within your product because you were the first one there. And then that's why it's a unique selling point. It can be used as a unique selling point. And then you have a reputation for high quality. That is just a basic unique selling point in itself. High quality, that's what makes you stand out. Your quality is very nice. Third, slogans, promotion. Your promotion, the way you promote, We can look at Pepsi back in the 1980s, back in the 1990s. Their promotion was outlandish, their promotion was crazy. And then, if you want to look more modern, let's look at Red Bull. Their promotion into crazy events, crazy stunts, that what makes them stand out. That's what makes people want to buy Red Bull. And then, fourth is if you're like the only firm, like it doesn't have to just be stuff you do, it could be your location. If you're the only firm that supplies a good or service in a region, that is also a unique selling point. Like just downstairs, there's only one 7-Eleven. That's their unique selling point. That's what makes me go to them and no one else. Because there is no one else. I can't go to a competitor. That is their unique selling point. Now, when I talk about differentiation, differentiation is, in definition, the act of distinguishing a business from its rivals in an industry. Now, you may think, how is that different from unique selling point? Differentiation is just the act of the unique selling point. So, unique selling point is a thing. This is like you're doing that to create this. Okay? I feel like that breaks it down. Now, overall, of a unique selling point of differentiation, there's always advantages, disadvantages. One advantage of all of this is that you get price advantages. You are allowed to charge higher prices. You're allowed to charge premiums as we go back to niche markets if you're unique selling point because you are that more slightly more niche, slightly more differentiated. Secondly, you get this greater sense of brand recognition and brand loyalty because basically your awareness is being increased so much, and that unique part about you, that different part about you, makes people want to come to you and you only and keep coming back. Now you also get like distribution advantages. You may think, what am I talking about here? But basically, when you have a unique selling point, which is good, and you are doing good differentiation, you get basically better product placement, which is what I mean by distribution advantages. It's like more distributors and like wholesalers and retailers, they'll put your product in better places to sell that product to consumers, which basically gives you advantages because you have that unique selling point. But a unique selling point is costly. Whenever you try to make something more niche, more specialized, more differentiated, it's going to become very costly, very time consuming. Secondly, your economies of scale can't be exploited that much. It's because once again you're not appealing to a mass market anymore. You are specialized. You are slightly specialized, and you can't just access economies of scale so easily, and it doesn't allow you to exploit these. And third, once you use too much differentiation, you can start to confuse your customers. Let's like go back to over here. If I put so many slogans and promotions that I'm different, but I'm also the first one, but I also have a reputation of high quality, and then like that bundles the consumer so much, it makes them less trusted within your business, and because they're so confused about what's going on. If there's so many different unique selling points, they don't know what makes it good, if you understand. And that's about it for the unit.